So let's move on to the leaders now, Mount Pleasant, Dwight, because I want you to tell me just how good they are at the moment, because they've scored 41 goals already this season to lead the table. No other team has scored as many as 30, and they've already passed 40. So Theodore Whitmore and his coaching staff must be very pleased with how things have gone for them so far in the regular season.
And when I spoke to him on the weekend, I guess they're getting used to scoring goals, so he was very pleased with the clean sheet. Just conceded 9 goals so far this season, not yet into double figures as a team. But they have so much attacking power going forward. They started with Bradford, Green and Bailey. And then you have the likes of Nelson kid come into play and Campbell as well, Devontae Campbell. So there's so much option attacking-wise for them. They remind me so much of my Premier League team in England, Liverpool. I know some people want to hear me say that. But yeah, they have so much going forward, but difficult to break down. I think Dyer and Cummins are really forming a very good defensive partnership with Topi out. They're really probably, some would argue, the best player in the league at the moment because they complement each other so well, and Cummins we know can play outside as well. So when they do attack with two, then they spread wide, and Cummins does give them that option as well, to allowing their fullback to push up. So they're really solid unit now. And I did ask McCullough, who continues to turn in the numbers, his trademark header, similar to the 2 goals he scored when he won the championship from Mount Pleasant. He did one on the weekend. And he just consistently gives you 8 out of 10, as myself and George was discussing. But he said, you know what? It's a long way to go, but certainly they feel like, you know, this is a season that they want to return to the summit in terms of lifting the title. That's the header you saw there. Yeah, it's McCullough. And he runs from probably center of the penalty box. And I don't know how, with him scoring so many of those goals, that opponents continue to allow him that free run from back to front. It just amazes me that, you know, opponents continue to allow him that time and space. Yeah. But Mount Pleasant, really decent unit and beginning to play the way Theodore Tupper Whitmore and Ferguson wants them to play.
Yeah, and we just saw the Shaquille Bradford goal before that. I was mentioning on Friday's show, Dwight, that Shaquille Bradford is the type of player that when he starts scoring, he scores regularly. He scores in clusters, and he has now scored 5 goals in the last 5 matches for Mount Pleasant. So he's living up to that style of being a goal scorer in clusters.
But not only that, and you're right with that, he does that very often when he scores, but the way he's doing it now, it's not just scoring the goals, his movements too, because before that goal, I mean, the defender was unaware of where he was, and as a striker, you always say if you can surprise defenders, then you're doing great. He came on the blind side of the defender who just didn't see him, and he backed off. He was backing away when the ball from Green was about to come in, and then as the ball was played, he attacked the space he wanted, so he occupied somewhere else, and that's good. You know, you want to not occupy the space you want, and he did that expertly, and by the time the defender saw him, he was already poking that ball away from him, in front of him. So his movement was good as well, so that would suggest that this scoring streak will continue for a while.
Yeah, and in case anybody forgot, Dwight, Dunbeholden, of course, would have beaten Mount Pleasant in the first round. So how important was this revenge for Mount Pleasant?
It was important, and I can say it because I did ask McCullough, and he said, you know what, we came into this game feeling like we had a score to settle because this team has created the only blemish on their resume so far. So he felt that he said as sets of players, they wanted to make it right. They want to show Dunbeholden that was a fluke and that was just an off day. So they went into the game with that in mind. You're right, Mariah. And they did display that. I think the one disappointing player that might be disappointed coming out of that game is Bailey not being able to extend his scoring streak. Just as he came off, a penalty was awarded, and if he had stayed on it maybe a minute more, he would have been taking that to join the other players now on 10 goals. But yeah, they went into that game wanting to show Dunbeholden. I'm worried for Dunbeholden just by how they look, how they appear. They were so easy to get at and really didn't trouble Mount Pleasant at the attacking end. It's worrying signs, you know. From the poor start, they had a little purple patch, 3 games winning streak, but now they're just over and above the drop zone, and it's worrying.
Yeah, well, you talk